Good morning, everyone. So it's August 1st. August 1st. July came and went. And it seemed like it came and went really fast. Too fast. I was just saying to my boyfriend this morning, this is the dreaded month for all the school kids because it's their last bit of time off before they have to go back to that dreadful place for the rest of the year. Although I remember so many kids loved school. When I went to school, so many kids loved school. I was not one of them. I hated school. There wasn't anything about it I liked. Not at all, not ever. But I had friends that loved it. I could never understand it myself. All right, well, let's see. Yeah, so it's August 1st, you guys. The healing intentions are always set for you folks. If you want them and you choose to receive them, go ahead and just always make your decrees. Decree that for your highest and greatest good, only and always. And just breathe and let that integrate into your body. All right. So, also, don't follow any links or emails in the comment section of the channels because those would be scammers. Trying to solicit you for things or anything else. Always be really careful with links and stuff. Always, always. Also, always be really careful with emails because it's the same thing. Emails can be sketchy too, so always be careful with those things. So, all right, so just a little chit chat this morning. So I've had somebody on the channel for quite a long time now that's just the most negative person, and they have this great gift and this great skill of taking anything positive and putting a negative spin on it. And I've let the comments stay because I'm like, you know, what am I learning from this person? The universe clearly plopped this person in front of me for a reason. So what am I learning? But after years of this person just absolutely being exhausting to me and just ridiculously negative all the time, anytime they comment, it's got to be something negative. They twist my words. They spin everything into a negative. They're very gifted that way. So I've let them stay because I've been thinking, what am I learning? You know what? I've already learned how not to act. So though I thought maybe, you know, this is a reminder of why you don't act this way, Lorri. That doesn't really cut it because I've been being taught that by people throughout the world consistently. I already know how to treat people. I already know how to be respectful. I already know all of those things. I mean, my parents started teaching me that when I was very small, and I've had many examples in the world where I've looked at people and known that that's what I don't want to be, how I don't want to act. So it's not that. And so I left him up thinking, what is it? What is it? What is it? And finally yesterday I was just like, you know what? I think it just comes down to boundaries again. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you folks is because it applies to all of our lives. If somebody is always so negative, we don't need to keep them in our life for any reason. So, you know, she's not in my life. She's on my channel, putting a negative energy on the channel. And honestly, when I'd get to her comments, I'd see her name and I would be like, oh God. And my eyes would roll and I'd be like, now what's the negative thing that she's saying? And it would always be something negative because that's how she rolls. So we don't need to keep people like that in our lives, right? We don't. And so if you have people in your lives, we've discussed this before, you guys, if you have people in your lives that are always being negative, you don't need to keep them in your life for any reason. And so good boundaries are always important when it comes to us living a happy, peaceful life. Though we may have big hearts and compassion for people, it doesn't mean we have to extend that to the point that it's to our own detriment in any way, right? So boundaries are really important. And yesterday I was like, I just think she's just a reminder of, it doesn't matter how compassionate I am, I need to have boundaries of what I will and won't expose myself to. So yesterday they got on and they were very much a jerk and very presumptuous and negative and just being insulting and shitty. And so I decided that I was going to hide them from the channel so they can still watch, and if they want the healing intentions, they can still receive them, though I doubt like hell this person is interested in anything that way. And it's not a bot. She's not a bot because she doesn't speak as the bots speak. No, it's a real person. So anyways, if you, the real person, are listening to this, you can no longer comment on this channel because you're exhausting and you're negative all the time. And I wouldn't invite you into my house to have coffee. So I'm not going to invite your comments into my life for me to have to read, because you're just so negative that you've now been hidden so you can't comment, because nobody on the channel deserves to have to read your comments. And some people I know go down through and they read them all. And I certainly don't deserve to have to read your comments. And honestly, if you're that way in life with everybody you know, none of those people have to put up with you either. So, you can spend the rest of your life being miserable and negative, or maybe you can start to turn yourself around and try to be positive and grateful and find yourself having a happy life. But I don't see how you could possibly be happy when every thought you have and every word you speak in typed text is something shitty. So you've been hidden, and you've been hidden because you act out and have been acting out consistently since you joined this channel. So with that being said, remember, you guys, boundaries. You don't need to put up with somebody who's always making you feel shitty. You don't need to put up with people that are abusive. You don't need to put up with people that are just negative, that take everything and spin it in a negative direction. If there are people that are trying to impact your vibration in that negative way, no matter what it is, if they're telling you what you're doing doesn't matter, or it doesn't matter what it is, or if they're just that person that wants to gossip and just crap on people, it doesn't matter if you've known that person 50 years, if you were best friends from kindergarten through your senior year, if that's what they are in your life now, it is absolutely okay to lovingly walk away from those people. You don't have to have this feeling of obligation or loyalty. Your compassion does not mean that you have to expose yourself to negative people all the time. So good boundaries. And with that being said, I hope you're all having a beautiful morning. It's about 5:45 a.m. here. I'm so, one of the things that I love about this channel is that I call these experiences that I have my weird shit-o-meter, because I notice weird shit and not everybody else does. And like I said, a lot of people are just they're kind of on autopilot and they're not noticing things. So one of the things that I love about this channel is that a lot of you are also noticing things. You're not on autopilot. So I can bring up things that other people haven't noticed maybe on the channel, And I get a lot of good feedback that, yeah, you guys are noticing it too. So I kept getting pop-ups yesterday while I was working. Pop-ups telling me little blurbs of part of what you guys were saying. I've got to go in and read your full comments. I read a few yesterday, but I haven't been able to get on to read all of them since I read the few yesterday. And I still have to go on to the day befores and read all of that. The last 2 days have been crazy busy for me. So anyway, yeah, I noticed a lot of the pop-ups were saying, yes, you guys have noticed these things too. You've noticed the way the time is, some of you have noticed the time difference, like it's getting dark too early or too late, and it happens fast, like big chunks of time. All of a sudden, from one day to the next, things are wonky that way. And a lot of you have noticed the two suns, and a lot of you have noticed that it's rising and setting in the wrong place. So for me here, it's still rising where it should, but it's setting in the northwest. So the whole north end of my house, which never saw sun before, is full sun in the evening when the sun is setting. And as far as the suns go, so I had that white sun that hovered the middle of my house, right over the center of my house, midday. And then the regular yellow sun that would rise and then come around and set, was in the sky at the same time. And then after a while, that white sun disappeared, and I haven't seen it yet. But that white sun, once it came, the yellow sun started doing the wonky stuff and setting in the wrong spot. So it had something to do with that white sun. I haven't seen the white sun yet, and I haven't seen the white sun since. And for me here, the sun that I'm seeing is the yellow one. But some of you said the sun that you guys are seeing now is the white one. So it's really weird. Sometimes I wonder, like, it's just so strange. It's so strange. We're all seeing the anomalies, but like, depending on what state we live in or where we're at, we're having like different experiences, which I find to be very interesting. And then Roger mentioned the moon, and yes, one of my friends mentioned that she'd seen 2 moons. Now here, I haven't seen 2 moons. The anomaly that I've noticed is that the moon jumps around. So like the sun, it should be having a certain pattern that it's, going by. And it doesn't. It will be in one spot one night and in another spot the next. And it's just very interesting because it does have these cycles in the way that it moves and where it would be in the morning and where it would be at night. But that pattern is supposed to be consistently moving in a particular direction. And now it's like, it's sporadic. You don't know where that moon is going to be. In the morning, we get up in the morning when it's dark. So, in the morning, let's say one morning it was, when I got up, let's say it was in my, in the west. And so it should be there in the west the next morning, but it might not be. It might be in the south. It's been very weird. So that's what I've been noticing with the moon. It's not always where it should be from day to day as that cycle moves. I haven't seen the 2 moons, but I believe you guys. I absolutely believe you that some of you are seeing 2 of them. So just really interesting. And it's just nice to know that I've got other people that are observing and experiencing your own weird shitometers. It's nice to be able to share that information. Will we ever get answers? We might not, but it's just nice to know that you're not the only one and that you're not crazy. It's really happening, and very, very odd stuff. Very odd. I just got coffee, you guys. So thank you for sharing, because we're all spread out and we're all noticing these anomalies. So very interesting times that we're living in. Just so interesting. Who'd have ever thunk it, right? So now one of the questions that, and I'm sorry, I apologize for this. You've asked me this a couple of times. Somebody wants to know why the animals are leaving Yellowstone. So I don't really know about this rumor. I haven't heard anything about this story, but I don't need to. All I need to know is that you have that question, and we can ask. So I'm assuming that animals are migrating out of Yellowstone. And I'm assuming that some people are making it into something that sounds like something big is going to happen. That would be the narrative, or what's being spoken out there amongst the internet or whatever. And so that's all I need to know, is that there's a story that the animals are migrating out of Yellowstone. And I would assume, because you're asking the question, why are they leaving? Because animals migrate. So that's part of nature's natural cycle, right? Migration of animals, coming and going, different seasons, seeking out food, whatever. There's a migration that happens naturally. So I'm assuming that if you're asking that question, that the narrative that's out there, or the stories being told, are that the animals are migrating out in a hurry, or that there's a lot of animals leaving all at once, and something that builds that story up to make it sound like, oh my goodness, animals are leaving at mass amounts or whatever, building the story, right? The story would have to be fairly big for you to ask the question, is what I'm trying to say. So, just knowing how things work. So, knowing how these things, you wouldn't ask the question unless it seemed big. So, knowing that it seems like a big deal that all of these animals are migrating out of Yellowstone National Park, we can just go from there and say, is that true? Well, no, we can't say it that way, because animals migrate. Animals leave Yellowstone every year. There's a migration that happens. So, let me ask it this way. Are there an unusual amount of animals that are very hurriedly leaving Yellowstone National Park here in the United States in mass amounts? Is there an unusual migration of animals leaving Yellowstone National Park? Please and thank you. And we'll get a card, and then depending on what we get, we'll get a story. So we'll get an answer first, and then we'll get a story, okay? So that's what we want to know. We want to know, is there really true story, truth? Is there really an unusual amount of animals leaving Yellowstone Park? The question that was asked me is, why are all the animals leaving Yellowstone? And so with that, it sounds like all of the animals are hurrying to get the heck out of Yellowstone Park. So is that true? Please and thank you. You can answer that with one card. Is that true? Are all the animals hurrying to get out of Yellowstone Park? Please and thank you. And we'll cut them. The King of Pentacles says abundance. So that's saying the animals are leaving Yellowstone Park. And that would say an abundance of animals are leaving, because that's the King of Pentacles is abundant. And I find it interesting that they answer us, they give us our yes with the King of Pentacles, because the King of Pentacles really does represent the earth and nature. The abundance of green, the abundance of food, berries, the abundance of minerals and, nature. So it does say that, yes, an abundance of animals are leaving Yellowstone National Park in the United States. That is true. An abundance of animals are leaving. Now let me get a sip of my coffee, and we'll go ahead and we'll get a story for this answer. We'll get a pathway and a story around it. Okay, so we'll do a 7-card spread, and we'll ask them to talk to us more on this. So, thank you so much for the information. So, yeah, an abundance of animals, and I'm not going to say all, you guys, because with the king, he's abundant. So we're going to take that. And we're going to say an abundance of animals. Yes, an abundance of animals are leaving Yellowstone National Park. And now what we want, please and thank you, is a good, full, true story around why that might be. Give us as much information as you possibly can. We'll start with a 7-card spread so we get the pathway and an understanding of the energy that's driving these animals to move, to leave Yellowstone. And then we'll get the story around it. And then depending on what we get for information there, we'll just continue the story downward as they can talk off of the original spread. You guys know how I do it, and they know how I do it. So please and thank you. Let's get a pathway and a story around why the animals are leaving in abundance Yellowstone National Park. Please and thank you. Why are they leaving in abundance? Okay, so there's a vibration that is playing a role in this. I don't know. I've got to move the cards, I guess. All right. I might not need to move the cards. I might just need to move this. Let's see if I can. I feel like that works. What do you guys think? And I can just move our king, our abundance. We'll keep him right there. And I'll just move these just a little bit. And I think it will all work out. That works pretty nicely, I think. All right, so the High Priestess represents the animals, right? Well, the story. She's the first piece of the story. We wanted to know why they're leaving in an abundance. So let's just start with the pathway, you guys, because the pathway does start to show us what's going on with the story around it. So the Two of Swords is like a vibration, okay? It's a stilling. it's a stilling, and it's technology, words, ego, thoughts. But it's a stilling. It's like nothing's happening. Do you know what I'm saying? Nothing's happening right now. So even though they said, yeah, an abundance of animals is leaving the national park, we have to know that the stories, because these are words, thoughts, ego, the stories that you're hearing around them, it's not why they're leaving. Okay? So there's nothing really happening with the words and stuff as to why the animals are leaving. Okay? So let's move up. So then we come into another 2. And this is a balancing act. It's an emotional balancing act. We have all of these 2s. So I would say part of this is natural. Part of this is they kind of do this every year. It's part of the natural ebb and flow of things. And the King of Pentacles indicates food as well, greenery, right? So possibly they're going to greener pastures. But it's a balancing act. So they're coming and going. It's like nature's natural cycle of balancing. They're seeking. So it's like they've been in the park, and now they're looking out, and they're moving on. Probably just a natural way of migration. Okay, you guys. So with this High Priestess, she's also a balancing act. What's she got behind her? She's got abundance behind her. So, and then right above this, you'll see there's a little pile of pentacles here and a big pile here. So I believe what they're saying is that this is part of the ebb and flow, the natural migration. They come in, they do their thing for a while, and then they move on, and then they'll cycle back in. Not all the animals leave, though, but a good amount of animals leave. It's part of the cycle. And across from again, this balance and act to find abundance, and this is food back here with the High Priestess. To find abundance, we have this, looking at what's in front of you and not looking up at what's coming in. And then above that, you've got the 3, rejoice, healing. So if you have some animals staying and a bunch of animals that are leaving because there's an imbalance and they need to look for something else, some of the animals would be able to stay and do just fine for the season or the time being, right? Others have to look up and look out and find an easier way to get into more lush areas that would be more lush for them. So there's an imbalance for them at certain times of year where they wouldn't be able to find all of this greenery. So it looks as though it's all about migration and food. And so what's going on at Yellowstone, there might be something interesting to that as far as the greenery, but they're like doing this cycle of things so that they can get into the more lush places. So it looks like they might cycle out, but they will be cycling back in with this too. But it definitely looks like the 2 of Swords is saying the stories. So I'd be interested to know what the stories are. It might even have something, the stories might even have something to do with vibration. And they're telling you that, I don't know if people are telling you that there's a vibrational disturbance there that's making the animals move out. But with this, it's saying there's a vibrational, it would be, this is more of a stilling. So if they're saying that there's an odd vibration that's bothering the animals, this is like stilling it. So that wouldn't be the case. And then if they're saying there's technology that's been put into Yellowstone that's driving the animals out, this card is stilling it, so that wouldn't be the case. And the stories about why they're moving, this card is stilling the stories, so the stories would be false. Does that make sense to you guys? And then it's really, this is about balance, and this even brings balance into the water, right? Because with the Two of Pentacles, the Pentacles obviously represent the earth plane, our earthly pleasures, you know, things that are abundant here on the earth. But the water and back is like, also because it's so wavy, the water is very much significant, a significant piece of this card. And it may even be that, like, when they move out seeking different places, when they go through this migrational period, that they're looking for water sources that will be better for them. They're looking for greener pastures. They could even be looking for thickets to, better thickets to winter over in or whatever. But it seems to be that it's like a natural piece of their cycle to come and go, the migration piece of it, to be like, I've spent this amount of time at Yellowstone with this 3 of rods, that's physical, what they're doing day to day. I've spent this amount of time at Yellowstone, and now I'm going to go out, assess my situation, and move out for a small period of time somewhere else, but then cycle back into Yellowstone. And with these 3s here, that's like exciting. That's a happy thing for them to do. It's part of their natural migration. It's not a bad thing. There are no nefarious cards. There's nothing set up nefariously here. And then again, you know, seeking that abundance, seeking that balance. Some would stay, some would be forced to leave. More would be forced to leave. Maybe they're bigger animals. Maybe their needs are different. But some of the animals probably stay there year round and aren't migrating out. But it's like there's too much focus on with this story. It's like there's too much focus on what's here and not what's coming in. So there might be a focus on the animals that are migrating out with these stories, right? But there's no focus on the animals that would be migrating back in right now either. So life it's cyclical, right? It's not linear. So there would be animals coming in right now too, as well as ones that are moving out. Maybe the ones coming in aren't as abundant as the ones that are moving out right now, but there's a definite cycle. It's like a balancing, juggling act that happens there in Yellowstone. Probably all the time, yearly by the looks of things. And it's nothing to worry about. Like, the animals know what to do to heal themselves, what they need, where to go, where they're going to get their needs met at particular times of year. So this looks natural to me, you guys. And it looks like part of a natural cycle. It looks like these cards all look really good. So it looks like they're even giving us hints that this is part of what brings healing to that landscape, is this natural cycle of animals that come and go. It's good for Yellowstone, for the animals to be doing this cycle that they do. So I want to know if I've read this correctly, please, and thank you. All right, we'll cut them. So have I gotten this right so far? So the animals, this is a natural, this is naturally something that the animals are doing. Yes, more are leaving than maybe staying, but others are coming in, and there's not really a lot of focus there. But it's just part of the natural migration. They're seeking what they need. It's part of the balancing act, and it actually looks like this natural migrational thing that happens with a lot of animals moving out and then some coming in, and this kind of going on as a balancing act. Looks like it's actually very healing for Yellowstone. It looks like Yellowstone benefits. The earth actually benefits from the animal's natural cycling. So I'm just, have I read this right? Please and thank you. And ending to the words, you guys want to keep talking. A surrendering. Let's go. Oh. A surrendering. Surrendering to the words. What do you guys want to say? You move everything out of the way. Surrendering to these words, you guys. They want to say something. Well, all right, so go ahead. I'll let you say whatever you want to say off of that card. We'll just go downward. Surrender to these words. Give up the words. Give up the thoughts. Give up the... It could be vibration. So let's just see what they say before I... Let's just see what they want to say, you guys. All right, so I think the universe knows why you've asked this question, even though I don't. I don't know the whole story as to why you've asked the question. So let me get a cup, I keep saying a cup. Let me get a sip of my coffee. So what they're saying is, basically stop listening to all of these words that sound dangerous, like they're going to like kill you or things or the planet or, you know, animals, doomsday stuff, like end that cycle of listening to that stuff. And the reason why I say that is because the next thing, they truly want you to end this, because the next thing that we have is the King of Cups. And the King of Cups can be good, he can be bad, he can be empathic, he can be a real shit. But the one thing that he does do is he holds knowledge and secrets. He holds information, and he waits to reveal them, because what he holds is emotional. That's why he's sitting on the water. The information and the knowledge that this guy holds can create turbulent emotions for people, right? So all will be revealed in time, but he brings these things up from the surface, if he's good, in a way that people can emotionally handle it, and if he's bad, in a way that would like snap people's minds and break their hearts. Okay, so it just depends on how he's set up. So they're saying end this cycle of words that kind of like end people, end the planet, end animals, end things. and go into a place of, with the polar opposite. This is a complete ending, and this is 0 point infinity. This is like the lowest of vibrations, and this is the high, the Fool, the highest of vibrations. Vibing so high, you guys, that this dog is like really having to work to keep him focused and on point and well grounded, because this guy is just in faith all the time. Look into the heavens, living his life very happily, just really, really high vibrational, right? Very connected to the heavens, sometimes so connected that he doesn't he's so connected to those heavens that he's not receiving his messages very well, so he could make a mistake and step off the cliff. That's why I'm always saying you got to be well grounded spiritually, spiritually well grounded to fly really high and actually know your messages, right? And then you put that earthing in there too, connecting with nature. This dog keeps him grounded because he's not grounding himself. He should. But the dog keeps him grounded. The dog's right there, purifying and cleansing him on the other end of things. Like, so he's so connected up here. And then the dog, little white dog, he's keeping him grounded right here. So totally polar opposite vibrations. Like, so stop this paying attention to all of this fearful stuff and start vibing high, but stay very cleansed and cleared and well grounded with these very, very, very high vibrations. All right, so then we look at this King of Cups, and I've already explained to you that he holds secrets, right? So, but the secrets that he's holding, revealing, the ones that you need to like stop listening to. And across from that, this card covers him. Let me explain this to you. So he covers the lies, the victories cover him, and the high vibing covers it all. Does that make sense to you guys? So when you go, you got to surrender to these negative thoughts and let them go. End that cycle. Start vibing high. Stay purified, cleansed, cleared. Clear all of this negative stuff with that little white dog, right? Clear it and stay well grounded. When we're staying well grounded, we really understand our messages and we can decipher a lot clearer, right? So vibe high, have faith, stay grounded. Get rid of these thoughts, words, patterns that are all about death and destruction. We're winning. Winning covers the death and destruction. Winning covers the secrets that are coming out, right? So this guy's like releasing words and secrets around Yellowstone that the universe is telling you not to pay attention to because these are detrimental. It's all about death and destruction, apparently. And so the universe is saying, don't pay attention to the death and destruction. This guy who's revealing this stuff is not doing you any good by listening to him. What would do you good is to get into that love vibration and know that we're winning. So whatever the narrative is, whatever these big secrets are, whatever this, they don't want you to know, but this is happening at Yellowstone. Whatever these people are supposed to be revealing as secrets, it's not something that you should pay attention to. What you should pay attention to is that we're winning, and that there's a love vibration in the physical journey. So maybe it is talking about damaging vibration, but I'm not seeing anything negative here. And it's saying surrender to this like damaging vibrational stuff. And this is like winning and the high vibration, winning, celebrating with that love vibration and staying in high vibrations and logic. So they're telling you whatever's being said that's negative, they want you to stop listening to it. And I think they're probably saying not just about Yellowstone, but about a lot of the stuff that's being revealed, the so-called reveals, like wherever you're learning these things, they're meant to like keep you in a very low place. They're put out there on purpose to keep you very low. There's nothing unnatural happening here. They would like us to get into this place of love and faith and know that we're winning and not constantly be sucked into these words or these narratives that bring the vibration not only down, but to a point of death. So the words would be, I would say that the words around Yellowstone's animals leaving are very scary. And my guides are calling bullshit on that. They're saying, stop listening to this stuff. Pick your vibration up. Know that this journey, this physical journey, is a win under that love vibration. This is a natural cycle that's happening. And have a little faith. And, have faith. Stay well grounded. When we're well grounded and well connected, we really are, it's easier for us to discern. Now, grounding practices, because whenever the Fool is brought up, I always feel as though I need to, I'm meant to talk about grounding. So there's grounding and there's earthing. And earthing is when you get out into nature. And you connect with nature. Like, I go barefoot. I'm barefoot out there all the time. I even clean my barn out in my bare feet. I go through so much winter where you can't go barefoot, right? So, yeah, kick off your shoes. Go barefoot upon the ground. Dig in the dirt. Instead of copping a squat in a chair, cop a squat right on the earth. Sit on the lawn. Go to the beach, walk in the waves, go for a hike in the woods, plant some flowers, some gardens, make friends with some trees, some bushes, some shrubs, go bird watching, animal watching, spend time outside, get outside and spend time outside, really connecting with the earth and the earth's vibration. The earth is very healing. That's earthing, okay? Grounding so that you can fly high. Spiritual grounding. We came from the heavens, but we live upon the earth. So what they've done is they've stolen all of our knowledge and they've kept it from us, so that we can be manipulated. So when we spiritually ground, because that's when you're connecting to the heavens, that's an energy, that's your energy body, okay? And you're pulling energy in through the heavens into your physical body. But you also need to, you have a energy body below you as well. Not just above you and around you, but below you. So you want to spiritually ground into the earth. And that spiritual, energetic energy body that goes below your physical body, you want to envision that down into the earth, anchored, connected. So that you're always receiving that earth's energy that's very healing up through you. You're receiving the heavenly energy down through you. Both are working together as it's supposed to, in balance, to heal your body. But you're also able to transfer that heavenly energy down into earth, which is healing the earth as well. So it's a beautiful connection when you do both. You have to spiritually ground. Because if we're not spiritually grounded and we're flying really high, and we have all of this faith, and I know all of you do, have all of this faith and you're so connected and you're very spiritual in that way. If you're not if you don't have these grounding practices, not earthing, spiritual grounding, all of the stuff that you get is not going to make sense. It's not going to make sense. And you're going to be flighty, and you might feel uncomfortable in your body all the time. That could be, it's going to be harder to discern. You may be getting messages that you're not even recognizing that you're getting because you're so ungrounded. And the energies of the world, you guys, the things that we have in our homes that we didn't used to have, the smart meters that some people have, and even if you don't, it's in your neighborhood because other people have them. The cell phones, the computers, the smart TVs, the DVDs, there's all of this stuff that we didn't used to have, right? And so these energies scramble our frequency, and that can really unground us. The other thing that can unground us is going through great transformation, so huge amounts of sorrow and also huge amounts of joy. And so there's a lot of different ways. Fear can unground somebody. There's a lot of different ways that people can become very ungrounded, and then they're just not going to get their messages as clearly. Like, you really have to go deep to fly high. You really do. And so they're not going to get their messages as clearly. They might always seem nervous. Their bodies might always seem uncomfortable. Sometimes people are in constant motion, or they feel jittery inside, like their body's in constant motion, even if they're not physically in constant motion. There's a lot of things that can happen from not being spiritually grounded, and things won't make sense, and we are more susceptible to having everything feel like, oh, something's not right, which would make us want to listen to words of death and destruction is upon us, because something wouldn't feel right because we're not spiritually grounded. Okay, so there's a huge difference between earthing and spiritually grounding. So what I'm going to share with all of you guys is that you will envision from that lower part of your back, right across your sacrum, just above your tailbone, right? You're going to envision from that part of your back a ball and a chain coming out of that. So this is going to be the chain, and then the ball will be on the end of it. Okay? And that chain goes up inside of you, and it goes on forever. Like you have all the chain you will ever need. It's infinite. It doesn't end. It's ongoing. And so you'll envision from that lower part of your back a very strong, heavy-duty, beautiful, metallic, earthy chain falling out of you, with a ball on the end that looks much like let's say a bowling ball, or a cannonball, right? And that ball is attached to that chain, and that ball is going to match that chain. It's going to be very earthy. You're going to see the metallic. Imagine the colors of the earth, the coppers and the silvers and the golds, and the rusts, and a nice beautiful black metal. That's the colors that you'll see within your ball and chain. And then I want you to just envision that ball and chain dropping it drops out of you and hits the floor, and it's going to continue to drop down through the floor until it finally hits the earth. And once it hits the earth, it's going to go flying through the earth and making its own pathway. And it's moving fast. And you're going to start to see that earth shift colors. You're going to start to see that kind of muddled red and the clay look of the earth as you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And pretty soon it's just the earth is going to give way as your ball makes this beautiful pathway of its own. And you're going to see in the center of the earth, as far as your eyes can see, the earth's just going to kind of open up, cavernous like, and you're going to see as far as your eyes can see a giant ball that will match your ball. Only it's huge, and that's all you can see. And you're going to lock into that. Your ball's going to fall and drop, and it's going to hit that ball and lock in magnetically. And you're going to breathe that energy up into you and allow that earth energy to heal you. And you are spiritually grounded. And if you make that a practice, every time before you meditate, before you pray, before you do any type of spiritual work, and if you don't do any spiritual work, if you make that a practice alone, you're going to start noticing that you feel better mentally, emotionally, physically. Things will start to clear for you. You're going to sleep better at night. It's going to bring a lot of benefits to your life. But he's definitely saying that people need to be spiritually grounded. Because if you that spiritual grounding all in itself is amazingly cleansing. And if that's all you do, that's good. But the deeper you go there, the higher you can fly if you start your spiritual practices, which I know most of you guys are doing anyway, but in case someone new is listening and needs to hear that. But it's always ground first. Ground before you go do your yoga. Ground afterwards. Ground before meditation. Ground afterwards. Ground before you start doing any intentional high vibrational spiritual work or healing. And then ground afterwards. Start with it and end with it, and you will notice a big difference in your life. Now, I've just given you a tool, okay? And that's all I can do. I can give you the tools, but I can't make you use them, You can give a carpenter the lumber, the tools, and everything he needs to build a house. The house will only get built if he does it, if he uses the tools. So I've given you a tool, and it's up to you guys to use it. And some of you may, and some of you may not. But if any of you do, your lives will be better for it. And I'm not shitting you when it comes to that. So, for some people, whoever this message is meant for, just the mere act of grounding yourself will help you to move away from listening to words of death and destruction and despair where everything ends, coming from people that are putting that out there on purpose. And just by the mere act of staying well spiritually grounded with the faith that you already have, you will find holding that love vibration easier, and you will be able to see the victories that we're having clearer. And your life will be like a victory lap. Your journey will start to feel better. Okay, so now that I've delivered this message and this message, have I delivered the messages the way you intended me to deliver them? Please and thank you. One more shuffle. And we'll cut them. Hold on, they have more to say. Wow, this is going to go long, you guys. This is our earthly pleasures. Hold on. What a wonderful message. Okay, so before we end this message, they wanted you to hold on. So that can be interpreted as, but buckle up, Buttercup, right? Buckle up with that 4. Buckle up, Buttercup. Hold on. Stay very balanced emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. And when I say physically, that means, you know, your assets, your needs, the things that you know, what it takes to survive. So hold on. Humanity is being moved out of troubled water. Okay? With that 6. Lovingly by people who are busting their humps to do it. And yeah, it feels a little bumpy right now. We're in the bumpy phase. But humanity is being moved out of troubled water by who? The good military. So we're getting that. 17, the star. That's where miracles happen. Okay? So the good military is doing work. They're doing work, you guys. And that's something they're doing miraculous work. Because with the star that's where miracles happen, you guys. The star works between worlds. So that good military, that's your hint, you guys. 17, the good military is working to move humanity out of troubled water with other militaries that are probably otherworldly. So we've got a lot of good stuff going on where miracles are happening. All brought to you by the Emperor, which is my alliance card. So we have military operations and the alliance. Like these are the people that have held knowledge and been infiltrating the secret societies to help keep humanity moving out of the troubled waters that a lot of the darker secret societies were trying to steer us into, right? The alliance. So they're giving us a good message. It's like, hold on, yes, there's some bumpy things. There are words out there. We know that. They want you to stay grounded. But they're assuring you that we're being moved out of these bumpy times. We're in the bumpy times right now, so hold on. But good things are coming, so don't fall into the fear porn. They're ending the message with a reminder that this is happening, and that's really what they want us to focus on. Okay, you guys. So I've given 3 messages. I just want clarity. And then I'll let you talk. I'll give you one more option. We've been on, listen, you guys, we've been on here a long time. I've got to look. I can't see very good. Okay. I appreciate all of the talking this morning. I appreciate all of the answers. Thank you so much for the answers. We've been on over an hour, and it takes a long time for these to upload if they go too long. So I've delivered 1, 2, 3, 4 messages here, basically, because the King of Pentacles, and then the stuff that goes on at Yellowstone, and then not to fall for this stuff. I gave a grounding technique, and then the reassurance that we really do have a military operation going on and an alliance doing the hard work to move humanity into a little bit better of a situation. They're doing like physical physical work to get things ready for, they're doing physical hard work to literally move us out of there, and that's like good military operations where miracles happen, brought to us by, you know, Q and the Alliance, bringing balance to this earth. So, did I now have... Okay, so now, how am I doing? How is... Can we be done? Can we be done? Have I delivered the messages to the best of my ability in the way that you would have liked me to deliver them? Please and thank you. Oh, the other piece of that, because we did lay that over the Yellowstone reading, the other piece of that is through these operations that have been happening to move humanity out of troubled water, there may have been some vibrational shifts in Yellowstone. So are you telling... wait. I need to ask these questions separately because this just came in. So I also believe they want you to know that there have been some vibrational shifts at Yellowstone due to operations from the military and the Alliance. So is that also a piece of the message so that we don't just keep going on and on and on and on? So have there also been, just so that you know, some vibrational shifts at Yellowstone National Park due to operations that the good military and the Alliance have done that helps to move humanity into a little better, smoother sailing. Certain operations probably did happen at Yellowstone, and now there is a different vibration there, and that would actually be more healing now that these operations have happened. So am I picking that up right too? Is that correct? Please and thank you. Because we want to get all of the messages, you guys. So is that correct as well? Please and thank you. With that question, is that... Boy, you guys are talkative today. Listen, we can't keep going on like this. Oh my word. Systems. We're still talking about Yellowstone. Systems at Yellowstone creating damage have been transmuted. Karmic. Systems that were creating negative vibrations and damage at Yellowstone, possibly even taking people. Have you guys heard any Sasquatch stories from there? Where they blame the Sabe for stealing people, and where maybe some bad Sabe do or whatever, but have you guys heard anything about that? Let me know in the comments, please. Systems at Yellowstone that were doing damage there. Vibrational damage, damage to the earth, damage to people and communities have been transmuted. This is karmic times. So what they're saying, I guess, is that there was some very nefarious stuff that used to happen at Yellowstone, you guys. And there is a natural cycling and there is some vibrational shifting that's gone on. There's been the Alliance working on this, the good military working on this. They're telling you the nefarious things that used to happen at Yellowstone have been transmuted. This is very karmic. This is putting the devil back on the bottom because, boy, there was some nefarious things going on there at Yellowstone. These things would also be ended. Have a little faith, stay well grounded. We're winning. The Alliance is winning. We're winning. And Yellowstone is a place that we won. Operations happened there that helped to move people out of troubled water. Total transformation from what was going on there vibrationally, and not only vibrationally, pollutantly, to cause suffering to people, communities. That's been transmuted. So the vibration is there. It's different there now. The vibration there is different. And this is very karmic. This is all part of this karmic time. And I'm not going to ask whether I'm delivering these messages. They've got a lot to say about Yellowstone, you guys, and about us, and about us moving out of troubled water. And like, this is very significant. My God, I'm going to go long, but I'm going to move these cards, and these ones are really hard to shuffle when my hands are sore, and my hands have been really sore lately. So let me give you an overview. There's a natural cycling that does happen in Yellowstone, and it seems to be that is happening. And the words around why animals move out of there, they're not telling you the truth about why animals are moving, migrating out and migrating in. There's bullshit stories around that stuff, basically. But they are telling you that the migration of the animals actually is very healing to the earth, right? So, and that makes sense, you know, when you take an ecosystem and you create an imbalance with that, it's detrimental to the earth, right? So Yellowstone is healing and thriving, and part of that is the natural migration. They want us to stop listening to like stuff that's not true, stop listening to the fear porn, stop listening to people that want to kind of surrender your mind, and they want us to be very high vibrational, connected to the heavens, well grounded to the earth. I gave you a tool to do that, and stay in that love vibration and know that we're winning, making victory laps all the time. And if we stay in that place where we know that we're winning and we stay in that love vibration, it will be very clear to us, because see how the Six of Rods is looking directly at these words, these things, these things will be very clear to us. We'll be able to be much more discerning. But they're telling us that we just need to hold on, because the truth is humanity really is physically being moved into smoother sailings. And so this is taking physical work. And we have this whole Q team and the Alliance behind us. And there's apparently some stuff that has been going on at Yellowstone over a long period of time that causes human suffering. And, you know, it's been impacting and affecting humans. And they want you to know that this has been transformed. So over a long period of time, Temperance changes things. She alchemizes things. And they're telling you that this has been work that's been going on to alchemize that for a long period. But they finally did it. Now this suffering, this chaos and this suffering, that's been put on the bottom. So I don't know, I haven't heard, but I know that this happens in a lot of national parks. So I'm going to ask, was there a time where a lot of nefarious things were happening to people, to living beings at Yellowstone National Park. This is turning into something I wasn't expecting. Thought we were just going to answer that question quickly. But no, we're getting information here. A lot of it. So was Yellowstone National Park a place that a lot of nefarious things happened to people? Maybe disappearances and, you know, other nefarious things at Yellowstone National Park? Are you telling us that? A lot of nefarious things happened there? And that it's been righted? Like, that's part of the, part of what the Alliance is doing is taking care of this type of shit. You're telling us that Yellowstone, for all its beauty and all its animals, that there was a lot going on there. Nefarious stuff happened there at Yellowstone. One more shuffle, and I'll pull a card. Nefarious things once took place there. It's looking like a lot of nefarious things. Yes, I've read that to you correctly with my King of Pentacles here out of the Deviant Moon. You guys, a lot of nefarious things used to happen there. And they've given us this whole big story. But nefarious things happened at Yellowstone. They've been alchemized and transmuted. They've put that devil back on the bottom. This is part of the karmic, the karma that is ending is the suffering that was being created there. And the people working so hard to stop all of this would be our Q team, our good military. Now that would also mean like higher people. This is also people with a higher spiritual knowledge, vibration, better technology, all of those, like our brothers and sisters from basically the stars, if you want to call it that. Or if you're a flat earther and you want to say from the lands beyond, makes no difference to me what you believe. But yeah, that's part of that team, the Alliance, really changing things, you guys. Yellowstone was really nefarious. Stuff was happening there, you guys, and things have changed. They've cleaned that up. They stopped a lot of that. So there was a lot going on there at Yellowstone. So now that you've told us everything about Yellowstone, Yellowstone had a lot of nefarious things. That's been transmuted. You want us to have faith. These guys are the ones that were doing it, and they're doing all of the work, moving humanity. You know, this is like a mission happening. We have to kind of stay in that place of like knowing that we're winning victory laps all the time. Yellowstone is being healed, and in many different ways, you guys, in many different ways. So, phew, now that I've said all of that, yeah, I don't want to do it today because it's so, I've already been on here so long, but maybe tomorrow I'll come on and I'll just let them talk to us a bit more about the things that took place at Yellowstone. Okay? But for right now, because this has been a long-ass reading, we got a lot of information, though. We got a lot of information. So, for right now, with the mess now that we've gotten from point A to, I feel like all the way through, from what the animals are doing there to what rumors do to what the military and the Alliance are doing to what was happening there at Yellowstone that many people wouldn't even know about, and very nefarious things happening at Yellowstone. I feel like we've created quite a circle of information here. So now with all of those messages, you guys, delivered, Can you tell me, have I given all of the information that you want to get out to the people that around Yellowstone National Park? Quite a lot of detail here about like all of these different things. So yeah. Have I now delivered all of the messages to the best of my ability, my human abilities, the way you would hope to get all of the messages to the people, the way the story, because you kind of told it in like story form, which is good. I like that. So have I finished the story? Did I deliver that in a way that you would like? Please and thank you. With one card. And then we really will get off, because this is another long one, you guys. Nearing an hour and a half. One more shuffle. These cards are really strong, thick, and my hands are sore, arthritic, so they're a little harder to shuffle. So, how did I do? How are we doing with all of those messages? With the two, I've delivered you a harvest. Fuck you guys, excuse my language. I can't keep going. I gotta pick these cards up. I've only delivered part of it, part of the harvest. So, but listen, I already said I would talk more on Yellowstone tomorrow. There's apparently a lot. I'm going to say they were harvesting people from there. So, were they harvesting people from Yellowstone? And when I say they, like, possibly, I know that Nefarious people, were people being harvested from Yellowstone? Because that card's all about the harvesting. I think they want you to know that people were harvested from Yellowstone National Park. Yeah. Yep. People were harvested. They're bringing it back to a simpler communities. People were taken. People that were out camping, hiking, doing things with their families. People were taken and harvested from Yellowstone Park. A lot. Like, and there are people out there that can talk about that. Kids gone missing with that page. Kids missing. Communities missing. Lots of illusion around Yellowstone. A lot of illusion there, you guys. There's a lot around a Yellowstone that we don't know. I'm going to pick up some of these cards. They really want to talk about Yellowstone. So I'm going to let them. And then I'm going to have to like rush my ass off to get everything else done before I have to take off. But it seems like there's an importance here that we need to hear. Or they want us to hear. There's a lot of nefarious shit around Yellowstone National Park, apparently. And I'm going to let them just speak to the nefarious stuff, okay, you guys? Because it seems like they want us to know. Listen to it in increments. I'm just going to let them speak on this last bit. And then, whoops, we want that out of there. Oh, it looks like, nope, I got them all out. Okay. 7-card spread. Go ahead and speak to us about Yellowstone National Park. Give us the truth. We can handle it. I know there's a lot of nasty stuff that goes on in parks. I mean, this does not surprise me a bit. But let's just see what they want to say. Hold my coffee over here. 7-card spread. What do you want to say around Yellowstone National Park? Watchers are there. The Watchers. The Watchers. Can be a very dangerous place. It's like skating on thin ice. Okay, so Yellowstone National Park. First, let's look at the pathway because the pathway is pretty nice. So the pathway of Yellowstone is creating a happy ending for families and people and things, okay? So that's driving the pathway to create a happy ending. So then we come up and we have our 7 on point on path. So this is like, it's scary, but it's a path that needs to be walked. So there's an energy that wants to create a happy ending for people, humans, people, animals on the earth plane. But it was a scary path walking it. The work to create this happy ending was actually kind of scary. It wasn't easy. It was very difficult, and it was done in the dark, okay? But it's part of the pathway. It's like on point, on path, needed to happen. And then we come up and we've got that King of Wands. The King of Wands, the intentions are it had to be done. It had to be cleaned up because people were in danger. And the King of Wands wants people to be safe, especially the children. And so the story around Yellowstone, you guys, is that the vibration of 5, Yellowstone has gone through some massive chaotic transformations with that 5, but it had Watchers, the Watchers. You've heard about the Watchers. So the Watchers were there, and they would do something to people's vibration, and so the Watchers would do something to people's vibrations that would either put them to sleep or cause them confusion. It would scramble things, right? So because even though these people are kind of alert and they're not stupid people, it's like their alertness got buried and their vibration got scrambled. Something happened to them by the Watchers, okay? So very dangerous. Like you could go into Yellowstone and honestly, it was a very dangerous, sketchy place to be. Although families didn't know that. Families would say, let's go to Yellowstone. And they had no idea that there were Watchers there and that it was as dangerous as it was. This park was very dangerous to humans. And it looks like there was taking a harvesting of people, blood types, fluids, very, very not good place for humans. Very nefarious things going on there with the Watchers. So danger at Yellowstone is how they want you to know that was the case. And the king here has, like, they all had to walk this, the king and team, right? The good leaders, king and team, which would be our Q operation and military. They had to walk a very dangerous, scary path, you guys, to make this a safer place. Because the Watchers were there, and the Watchers would take people when they were out hiking and screw them and disorient them. And the Watchers would take younger people. It's a very sketchy and dangerous place to be. Looks like maybe even taken fluids from there. So it could have been like a place that people were snatched for adrenochrome harvesting and other nefarious things. So I'm just going to let them keep talking here because there's a definite message. But the Watchers were there, screwing with people. Very dangerous place. And so the energy hovering this whole story around Yellowstone is to get it better. Yeah, people didn't know it was dangerous. They just couldn't wait to get there with their families and friends. And meanwhile, there's all this major danger there at Yellowstone. And the Watchers were working with people behind a curtain. So the Watchers were given permission by people behind the curtain to come in and do this to people, to come in and do these things. All right, so yeah, these Watchers were working with somebody. They had permission. So it was like they worked with people behind the scenes. They had permission, or they were sent there, or whatever, to do this with people, okay? But the King of Swords, who has integrity, covers these people. So these two kings working together to cover this, the nefarious engagement and the people working together with the Watchers to do this to humanity. So then we come down with this 9. Don't worry. This is telling you don't worry. Even though there's like a devil whispering in the ear, right? They're saying don't worry. Tap back into that intuition, because judgment has actually come to these Watchers and to the people working with them. Judgment came in. And here we go with judgment came in, and it looks like they were then harvested. They were then harvested. These people with integrity began harvesting these Watchers. Isn't that an interesting way to put that? One more card we have here. Oh, interesting, because it looks to me like judgment came in and started harvesting these Watchers that were making things so dangerous. And then like these Watchers, these particular Watchers, it looks like they've been sent away, sent back via, or had something done with them. This is like a 6, so the love vibration, right? And this is like the journeying alone out in the great beyond. And judgment has done that. Judgment came in and harvested these people and then sent them out. So I would say what you're trying to say is the judgment came in and harvested these Watchers. I would say they were taken away by space, by ship, by something away, Probably because they don't look like us, and to stop us from being in fear if we were to see. They were dealt with in secret locations. They were taking the harvesting of these watchers has been happening, but they're taken away because this would actually be too much if people knew right now about these watchers, probably what they look like. It might be too much. Their heads would explode. But judgment is harvesting the watchers. Sorry, judgment is harvesting the watchers. I was pointing to the wrong cards. Judgment came in and covered the watchers and is harvesting them and moving them away, out, taking them away. Is that correct? The watchers. So am I reading this? A very dangerous place, but don't worry, because this is being cleaned up. Like it's a big deal what was going on there at Yellowstone. So am I delivering this correctly? And judgment is coming in and cleaning this shit up. Like these watchers that have been doing things to people are actually now they're the ones being harvested. Is that correct? And they've been being taken away. Am I getting this correct? The sun. That's a long story. I'm sorry, you guys, but they wanted you to know everything, the truth about Yellowstone. So animals do naturally cycle. So there'll be rumors and distractions out there not telling you really the truth about things. What else did we get? Oh, God. Animals cycle out, but other animals cycle in, and that natural cycling is actually good for the earth. There's a lot of rumors out there. I don't know. There's a lot to this. This is a lot. I'm exhausted. Because the whole time they've kept me on my toes. Like the whole time I'm doing this, I'm like, the energy's building and building and building, you know, you guys, and it's like, oh my God, what am I going to learn now? Oh my gosh, they've got more to say. What are they saying? But that's like a whole story from start to finish. Whoever's telling you stuff about whatever the words are being said as to why animals are leaving, they're lying. But they're probably not telling you the truth about what really happens there. And that's basically what my guides did. They just showed you a whole story of how words are skewered and you know, stories are made up about particular things happening and how that cannot be true at all. Well, there's this whole other thing that really is true that makes that place dangerous for humans, but nobody's telling you about it. And we took a really big full circle. And they gave advice. They told, you know, they told you the Alliance and the good military are working on things. You know, miracles happening, things being alchemized and transmuted. Bad things have been happening there to cause suffering for humans for a long time. And holy crap, yeah. So, real interesting, and I finally got it. Okay. I can't remember. I said, is that correct? And I got the sun. yippee, let's do the dance, higher arcana, got the story. I read this to you right. There's watchers there doing shit to people. It was a very dangerous place at Yellowstone for people. So now that I've said all of that, this is a long one. Sorry, guys. With all of these messages that we've delivered today, have I done a good job? Can we be done? We're an hour. I can't see very good because of I need new glasses. An hour and 40 minutes and 42 seconds in. So have I delivered a good bunch of messages to people? And can we be done? Please and thank you. Have we gotten a good amount of information, the information that you would like everybody to know out today? Please and thank you. Please and thank you very much. Queen of Wands. We got the story out. We got the story out. You guys. Whew, yes. Thank goodness. That was long. It's 7:17 right now. As we're finishing that and get the Queen of Wands, where the secondary message with her is always be magical and manifest your best life, right? So, holy crap. Yeah, there's a lot to Yellowstone. And, you know, the truth they really want you to know is that there were watchers there doing nefarious things, you guys. And Yellowstone does have its own natural cycling and whatnot. And things are being healed there, and animals will move out and they'll move in, and, you know, migration will happen and things happen. But the biggest part they want us to know, they want us to stay grounded and have faith and, you know, stay balanced so that we can recognize truths and whatnot when we hear them. But they want us to know there's been an ongoing military operation there, great transformation brought to us, you know, by the Alliance. And the story is because there were damn nefarious things going on there, you guys. Real nefarious. And that's the story they want you guys to know. That there were watchers at Yellowstone making it real unsafe for humans. Taking humans, screwing with your vibrations so you might get lost or fall asleep or wake up disoriented. Looks like taking people's fluids. So that could be, goodness knows. But there were, you know, definitely harvesting people by the watchers there. And now the watchers are being harvested and taken away. Brought to us that mission by the good military. So anyway, long one. Sorry, you guys. I love you all. I'm going to get off. It's going to take forever for this to upload. But I love you all. I hope that you have an amazing day, beautiful weekend. Stay high vibing, stay healing. Remember your boundaries. You don't need to have people in your life, and I don't need to have people in my life. That if we wouldn't enjoy sitting, babbling, having a cup of coffee with people, then we don't need to expose ourselves to listening to their negativity. We don't need to expose ourselves to them. Doesn't mean that we can't have compassion, love, and healing for those people, healing intentions for those people. It just means that we don't have to expose our energetic field and our auric field and our physical life and anything about ourselves to those people. We can be loving and kind towards people without having to expose ourselves to the negativity. All right, you guys, I love you all, and I hope that you have an amazing weekend, a beautiful day, and I will see you all soonish. All right, I'm pooped. I am absolutely pooped now. I will see you. Bye.